Welcome to That Steel.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. They said we would never be back. Nick, we've got a special guest with us this evening. Please introduce away.
Yes. Today on the podcast, we've got Jake Simkin. Yes. Now, and to the listeners, some of the listeners might have heard of you. Like we said, the legendary Jake Simkin, because a lot of reasons why. And you've got a lot of stories. But first, I want to say how I met you, and it's weird, right? It's kind of weird because I just sent you a message out of the blue. Hey, brother, do you want to come on this podcast, right? Because Brett says to me, he goes, man, who do we know that knows motorbikes or whatever? Turns out we're full of lamos, right? We don't know any
all our friends are dorks. They all write poetry on the weekend and sip Chardonnay.
They ride scooters and stuff. Not that that's bad, but And then I was trying to rack my brain. I'm like, who do I know? And I was like, I remember there was the Wide of the Mark premiere, right? And they said, you want to do a meetup? We'll all ride our motorbikes to this place, and then we'll hang out. I didn't know anybody. I rocked up. There's all these motorbikes there. It's that place in Northcote. What's it called? Or Preston?
What's that place?
Abrazo Cafe? No, not Abrazo.
No.
Italian. It's like a motorbike repairs custom.
Oh, yeah, it's motorbike repair store. What is the name of it?
Yeah. Anyway, they were nice dudes. Anyway, everyone rocks up on
Benzina Cafe.
That's it. Yep. Cool place. Yep. And had some really cool classic retro bikes. I rock up and everyone rocks up on pretty cool bikes, nice bikes. Then you rock up on what could be described as a real weird piece of shit that I loved. I loved it.
Like every Uber rider and stuff stops. Like people stop and take photos of my bike. So as weird as it kind of looks like. Yeah, people love it. So,
it's so cool.
Is it rough as guts? I haven't seen it. Is it something out of Mad Max or something?
Man, close enough. Yeah.
Really?
And the thing I loved about it the most, man, not a real common model. Like, is a KLR 300 or something like that?
It's a KLE 500, so even making it even more sort of niche. So KLR, at least everybody's got one, but a KLE is like, a bit more slimline, smaller tank.
Yeah.
Kind of like an adventure bike, but not really because it's its fenders down low, so it catches mud and gets fucked up.
Yeah.
When you're taking it off road. Yeah. Especially you're going to Langi and stuff. But I still beat everybody else that had DRZ, so goes to show.
Yeah, man. Well, that's what I liked about it. I'm like, this guy's no bullshit. Like
he's not fucking
Not that
around.
Everyone else was bullshit. They had nice bikes and everything, but I was like, this guy. I don't know. I've got a feeling about him. I've got a feeling
when you see a war pig, you're like, this is it.
Yeah,
I like this guy. Yeah.
I also like something attracts, like something that you and I did. Something I bought my bike from Bendigo for $2,000 XT 600. And something about making with what you got. Like you obviously, how did you stumble on this KLE 300, man?
Well, the KLE 500 actually still to this day actually belongs to my friend Benny. Benny, he sort of had the bike, he didn't really actually enjoy riding, and he wanted to make a custom bike, but he wasn't really into making custom bikes.
Yeah.
So it was just left as this shop bike that didn't have any speedometer or anything on it, or just there was no fairings. He lost the fairings, so they went somewhere. So it was like, oh, well, I'll just make it as it is. So I just got bits of piece of steel and just cut it in and made my side fairings and didn't really need a speedo. You just use your phone, just stick the squad lock, get the app.
Are you Nick Capper Jr.? This sounds like something that makes you froth because his speedo doesn't work. And then every time I go, oh man, I bought these bigger foot pegs for like $80. Nick's like, man, just get me an angle grinder. I'll make him. I'm like, you live in Abbotsford. There's nowhere where you can make them. But if you had a shed, I know you would.
I love making shit. Love having a crazy fucking weird bike, and that's what you got. You got a 1 in a million bike. So, and then I lived near Custom Commune, and I'd walk past to go to Moondog, and sometimes you'd be out there having a beer, and I'd stop and have a chat. Hey mate, got any rides lately? And then you'd tell me all the good tracks. So then I was like, how do I get onto this guy? I don't even know his name. And then I stalked you on the Custom Commune Instagram. For those who don't know, Custom Commune, it's a great idea. You can book a workshop space there and go and work on a motorbike. And I stalked you and I was like, okay, this Jake guy, That's him. That's the guy. And then, and then I messaged you, and then you said you'd come on the podcast. So, man, I don't know where to start with you. Like, take us through, how many bikes you got at the moment? How did you get into motorbikes?
Oof, how did I get into motorbikes? I was into motorbikes when I was a kid. In fact, my dad, he had like a Northern Commando, met my mother in Malaysia.
Yeah.
I pretty much was like inside her belly riding around
Yeah.
on a motorbike. So I kind of gave that love for motorbikes. So I had a motorbike when I was about 16, 17, dirt bike.
What kind?
I think it was an XR.
Nice.
XR 600. Yeah.
Absolute machine. My dad had one of those as well. He sold it because the gearbox was playing up, and I've regretted it every day since. You know, I'm like, such a great bike.
Probably
you
worth
know?
12 grand now or
Oh
something.
man, yeah. I tried to buy it back, and 10 grand, at least. Yep. Matt, I think you'd be mates with him as well. Matty Mack, he's got two XR 600s, doesn't he?
Yep.
Yeah,
Mac.
He raced one
he's
in the
fucking
Fink,
legend.
and I watched the whole Fink race, but you can only see the start and the end. But I loved that. I was like, man, the XR's coming out. It's going to be sweet. You know what I mean? He's probably going to be at the end, and then he just goes off the line. He just smokes everyone, and then just does this massive jump. And I was like, oh yeah, he's still fucking sick. And Matty Mack, you know what I mean?
He got the whole shot. I can't believe it.
Yeah, he just did this massive jump as well. And then I frothed over because his hands were so cut up. After the first leg, like he had no skin left on his hands, but then still kept racing the next day. And I was like, hell yeah, brother.
It's crazy, man, because, Brett and I, like, not to brag, we do comedy and we've met Australia's biggest comedians, sometimes the world's biggest comedians. But it was a great night for me, that Wide of the Mark premiere, when I got to meet Matty Mack, the dirt bike photographer. I was bowled over. I was like, whoa, you're the guy, And then tracking you down, man, I'm like, whoa, I said to Brett, he's coming on the podcast, Like, we're way more excited to meet motorbike heads than we are to meet big celebrities.
It's true, we are frothing.
I mean, we just talk about motorbikes. I mean, that's what I talk about, motorbikes. And like, my wife kind of says, oh, what are you thinking about? Motorbikes.
Yeah.
I mean, I love you, and I'm thinking about our future together.
But motorbikes.
The motorbikes.
Sorry. I'm thinking about riding my Harley with my chopper, with you on the back, holding on to me. And we got the baby Oso in between the middle, and that's what I'm thinking.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah,
That should be the
Baby, you're still there.
rewording.
That's all that matters, is the fact that you're there. It doesn't matter that there's a motorbike involved.
Well, she likes sitting on the back of a motorbike, and that's a good thing. I've learned my lesson though. So if you do have a woman who's kind of into motorbikes, do not buy her your own motorbike and let her become really independent, because then she'll realize that she wants to be really independent and leave you. And then you spend all this money buying a brand new motorbike for her. So that's what happened to me.
To always make sure she's riding shotgun on the back.
Okay. All right. Yeah. My partner and I got drunk the other night at a dinner party, and we left the car at a friend's house, and I threw the notion in the air, rather than spending $40 on an Uber, she can get on the back if she likes. And absolutely was shut down straight away. So I'm fine, man. I'm really fine, So, man, now, did you ever take a break from when you rode dirt bikes as a kid, and then you realised that you loved motorbikes, or you've just always had them all the way through?
I did have a break for a short time where on the motorbike that I was in, on and stuff, when I was about 18 or so, I was driving on the highway, it was raining, truck didn't see me and pushed into me, and I hit the safety barrier, and I probably slid for about 20 meters or so on my back.
Jesus.
And flipped around, but my bike was just gone. And I stood up straight away and went, fuck, that really fucking hurt.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I just was knocked out solid.
Oh, really?
geez.
Fully passed out?
Passed out for whatever. I ended up being in the ambulance, like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so you woke up and you're in the ambulance?
Yeah.
Fuck, that would freak me out.
Yeah. Because whenever I ride past a semi, that's the first thing I think of. Like, what if they don't see me? So that's a nightmare come true, It's crazy. So, you took a break after that?
Well, I took a small break from that, and I end up working in film and TV, was a cinematographer, worked on movies, music videos. And then the tsunami happened in Banda Aceh, and I went over there to do humanitarian work and just work on photography and photograph what was happening there. And there was all these scooters and bikes, and it just seemed like the easiest way to go around. So it's like I just jumped back on it and fuck, I know this.
Yeah.
Riding's in my blood. You know,
Yeah.
rode BMXs all through my life. I rode BMXs when I was like 2 years old. Without the handlebars and stuff, riding through sewer drains. So I just figured, well, fuck, why not? And then there was a documentary about women's rights around the world, and I worked on this documentary. I finished my at India, and I was meant to go back, and I decided, well, fuck it, I'm just going to stay in India. I love this book, Shantaram, so I kind of just wanted to.
Man, I
live the
worked on
life.
that when it was here. Yeah. I'm a lighting technician as well.
Oh,
So
sweet.
yeah. It's a really beautiful film. I can't wait to see it. Well, it looked great. I don't know whether it's been pulled off quite yet, but
The book was huge. Hey, the book was massive. It was, crazy life that they led, and I think it sent a lot of people to India.
Yeah.
It did. Yeah.
Well, the book basically, I mean, I just maybe reinforced that I wanted to live my life. I didn't want to have this boring life in Australia, just making films, making movies. And, I was making movies about other people's lives and stuff when, you could end up being this character that sits at a bar in a pub and you just got thousands of fucking stories and people just go, fuck, you have lived a life. I go, yeah.
Man, we are kindred spirits, Except I never had the boring life or never built any savings or any type of qualifications behind me,
I don't think I ever did that either. And I'm struggling now because now that I'm a married man and I have a baby on the way, it's like, fuck, I didn't save any money whatsoever. But I lived a fucking great life.
yeah, but you can't take money with you. I mean, you can't take good stories with you either, I suppose. But I mean, I'd rather have good stories than money.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so you're in India, and then what happened then?
In India, I sold my ticket going back home, bought a Royal Enfield Classic 500cc.
Yeah, Bullet?
Yep, the Bullet.
Yeah.
It was the old Indian version. Now that India bought the rights from Royal Enfield, they make brand new Royal Enfields in India that are properly made. But I had the shitty Indian made one, which had the opposite gears and
So the gears are on the other
side.
On the other side.
Yeah,
I
on the
would
left-
hate that.
left side.
So let me guess. You said you did the same mistake as me. You were coming into a roundabout and you went to put your foot on the brake and then you changed up gears because that's exactly what happened to me.
Well, that happened to me at another time in Pakistan. So,
really?
Where a truck was coming on the opposite side of the road, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" It was like I didn't put my foot on the brake, did I? I put my foot on the fucking clutch. Slid the whole bike sideways. The bike went underneath between the two wheels and stuff and came off the other side off the cliff. And my
Jesus.
feet and stuff just landed just where the wheel was on the car on the truck. And it's like, whew. But my bike was down the cliff and it was like 40 meters down. I was like, guess I ain't getting that.
Yeah, really.
I mean, not as a cooler story as that, but I just can't deal with any change in cars. Every time you see me turning left, my windscreen wipers go off. I'm like, I can't even deal with the simplest thing. Like, I've learned that way. I refuse any other variables.
Yeah, man. I always thought, if I was a rich man, for some reason, I would get the old classic Royal Enfield, because I think they are the perfect bike for India and the perfect bike for the city.
Yeah.
I think to coast around Melbourne, a Bullet 500 would be my ultimate dream. The sound of them, everything.
Still a tractor though.
Yeah,
it's just it's slow at the lights.
Yeah.
But when you got that sort of like the twisties and stuff, it's perfect.
But it's such a beautiful bike, though. You know what I mean? Like, you're never going to get rid of it and you're never going to get tired of looking at it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just find them interesting.
The sound is incredible as well. That backfire.
Yeah.
I was a total tosser, though. I hired one in India. Had a denim shirt, and then I was smoking a beanie.
Yeah.
Just down the highway in sunglasses, and there's just trucks of guys just past me going, there goes the coolest white man in India, just smoking it.
No helmet?
Yeah. This guy stopped me and he goes, great backfiring. Yeah. It ruled, man. Yeah. So, man, that's crazy. So you bought a Royal Enfield in Pakistan as well.
Yeah.
And just lost it down a cliff.
Yep, lost it down a cliff. Lucky enough, I was running out of money. And one of my friends, Wally DeBacker from Gautier, needed a VJ, and I VJ'd him for him before, so it was great to come back home to Australia. And then I was just like this video sort of like rock star that
Really?
went around the world with him. And then I was like, fuck, I'm fucking tired of this. I want to go back on the road again.
Yeah.
And just this one guy came, gave me a call up, and he needed someone to come and shoot a travel show in Afghanistan. So I ended up going to Afghanistan. And
How do you even? Is this a dumb question? And how do you even get into Afghanistan? Is it?
Yeah.
It ain't. It's not like you just go
That
to
is not
Melbourne
a dumb question at all.
airport and just go 1 ticket to Afghanistan, please. How do you even get in there? Like, isn't it still like a war country and stuff like that?
yeah, I mean, it was still a war zone.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It isn't anymore, but that's another story.
Yeah.
And basically, they needed someone to help build the film industry and stuff there. And so,
Okay.
I had to buy a ticket to Dubai, and then I had to wait for my visa in Dubai for Afghanistan. And then there was a flight to Afghanistan. So Dubai airport pretty much flies to every country in the world. So every war zone in the world, it pretty much flies to. The only other airport that's like that was Istanbul. And I lived in Istanbul for another 6 years. But I lived in Afghanistan I thought it was going to be 1 year, and I ended up being there for 6 years. So,
Oh, cool. Was it intense? Like, I'm just so curious about the country.
was it intense? At times it was, and at times it was kind of boring. But the best way to describe Kabul and Afghanistan was, it was like you're at university and you do your work and stuff, but then you have that university sort of like party life.
Yeah.
So all of the embassies and stuff are bringing free booze. You try and make sure you make friends with everybody so you can get invited to embassy parties. There's free like food, free booze, all the alcohol you could ever want. There's great bars.
Yeah.
The Swedish ambassador had what was called the Manhattan Bar, and he actually designed his bar to an actual New York and sort of like bar and stuff. It had every drink in the world you could ever imagine.
This is not the answer I expected. Man, it's like party paradise over there. I built a bar. It's sick.
I mean, there was this place called Latmosphere, and when I was about, literally within like my first month of being in Afghanistan, there is like a photo of me with two topless like French girls on either arm, and I've got like 2 bottles of champagne. I go, fuck yeah, I love Kabul.
And man, this is just what a couple of years after you filmed a documentary on female empowerment or something like that. Did you say,
Hey, they were empowered.
It's just like,
They were
I am
empowered.
giving jobs to women.
They don't have the burqa on. They're good to go.
That's awesome.
It's fucking crazy. But stayed there for 6 years. I owned a whole bunch of dirt bikes. I owned the fastest motorcycle in Kabul, which was a Honda VFR 750.
Oh, nice.
And I had fixed up this bike. I bought it for $3,000 from Pakistan and been brought over the border. It had Washington plates because it was stolen probably from the United States, brought to Dubai, shipped to Pakistan, then from Pakistan to Afghanistan So, it had these number plates and stuff that were from Washington
I
State.
always think that's where all the stolen bikes go. They go straight into a freight container and then they're just fucking gone to another country.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like if you rocked up, there'd just be all the best bikes ever for like $2,000 because they've just been flogged from somewhere,
Yeah, man. Yeah. So let's get your life straight so far, okay?
There's a lot to unpack here. There's so much to unpack.
You fall off a motorbike. You go to India, then you did you work in India?
Yeah, I worked in India. So
you
when I
just
worked
thought-
in India, it was basically I just had my camera and I was just taking photos of what was for NGOs and what was happening and sell it for a few bucks here and there.
Yeah.
I worked as a DJ down in Goa. Met a whole heap of friends and stuff. Went up to Manali. There's heaps of basically ganja and just the wildlife sort of thing you could possibly do in India. I did just live that whole Shantaram life sort of thing.
And then then you go to Pakistan. You fall off your motorbike again. Then you're the video DJ for Gautier, and then you go around the world. Then you are in Afghanistan. Okay, I just wanted to bring everyone up to speed.
Yeah, because I'm still baffled by. I'm like, man, that's a lot. That's a lot to unpack. We're only 19 minutes 20 into this. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and I'm like, I was 29.
Yeah.
So
This might have to be a two-parter.
Yeah, that's wild, man. So if in Afghanistan, you got a VFR. One thing I noticed when I was now I'm not comparing Afghanistan to India in any way, but I noticed in a lot of countries besides Australia, the roads, it's hard to open it up, because there's a lot of people, and I find Australia's got a lot of space, and you can just get loose anywhere. Was that like Afghanistan, or was it good to open it up around the roads there? Or was it pretty fun? Yeah.
It's pretty fucking hectic, actually.
Oh, right, okay,
There's heaps of fucking potholes.
Yeah, I was going to say the potholes would be the
then,
biggest
On a
thing.
VFR, not too much travel as well.
Yeah, it fucking breaks your nuts. At one particular time, they actually rebuilt this road that went to this place called Bamiyan, which is the most beautiful place in Afghanistan. You should definitely go. And I let it rip, and I was rolling at about 210. I hit this one pothole. And it felt like a soccer player had kicked me in the dick. And I had to stop, and I was like there for like 10 minutes. And then my friends finally caught up on their bikes. They all had 250cc's or 125s, so they were just trailing behind by ages. Like, you all right? Like, oh, no. I don't have fucking dick anymore.
Also, how big's the pothole? If you're flying at 210 or whatever, you shouldn't be touching anything for a while, you know?
I'm surprised.
Must be a massive...
Yeah, I'm surprised you're still hanging on the handlebars. How was your hands? Did you break both your wrists? Or what's going on? Like, that's crazy, man.
You just do it like I used to love dirt bikes, so you just fucking send it.
Yeah.
At one particular time in Kabul, I was riding on the VFR and stuff, and then this police wagon comes up, and they just want to. The Afghan police officers, some of them are real cunts, and then some of them are just awesome dudes.
Yeah.
And they're just like, hey man, like, we just want to see how fast you can go. It's like, you really want to see how fast you can go? And they've got they've got Toyota Rangers and stuff. It's like, all right. And then I had my helmet on, so I had a proper helmet, had some proper sort of like racing levers. I was like, all right, I'll show you. Well, I went to about 270 kilometers on the airport road, and they're at about 240, sort of like rolling behind. And we get to this one. They're lucky enough, like, called in to the checkpoints ahead.
Yeah.
So the checkpoints ahead. No,
She's getting a police escort.
Police escort. Hey, we got a guy coming through, and we're just seeing how fast he can sting it. He's got about 270. You won't see him, but you'll feel the wind.
but I was like looking, I was like, holy fuck, I am not going to, like, there was actually traffic on this roundabout where this checkpoint is. I was like, I don't think I'm going to brake in time before I get through the...
I'll be fucking too scared to touch the brakes at 270. I'll be like, oh.
I'm going to have to go through this checkpoint. So, so I'm braking and stuff, going through the checkpoint, like, oh, fuck. And then I go through the checkpoint. The police, like, let me pass and stuff. And I somehow managed to not crash into oncoming traffic. And I'm just like, and all the police officers are, like, coming over. It's like, oh, they're, like, clapping their hands. It was like the best thing they had fucking ever seen. It was like, oh, best shack, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, can we ride your motorbike? I say, yeah, I think you could ride my motorbike because I think I just shat my pants.
Yeah. Imagine that at the end they go, and here's your speeding fine as well, champ. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
$4 million. There you go, man.
But, like, Kabul is this weird place where the police officers and stuff were, they're like, some of them is like, you roll past, it's like, oh, do you have any marijuana on you? Like hashish on you? It's like, no. Do you want some? It's like, do you want to smoke some with us or stuff? It's like,
yeah, I would be like, is this a trick?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, but I do. So whatever. There's just $20 on my dash. I don't know. You just do whatever you want with that.
But you get busted for alcohol and stuff in your car and stuff, and they just grab it and just have a swig and it's like, give it back. It's like,
This sounds like the coolest country ever.
Yeah. One particular time we had a music festival. It was called Sound Central, and me and one of the lead singers from this band, we went to. We're having a massive pool party. We're absolutely wet. I'm riding down on my old Triumph. She's on the back and stuff, basically wet t-shirts is off. She's just in a bra, and I'm riding through all these checkpoints. And, we party on later on. And in the morning, I'm going past, and the checkpoint stops me. And it's like, oh, last night, you were riding the motorbike with this, beautiful woman on the back. It's like, great, hoovas.
They put down a full sting track, like they got the nails across the road and stuff. We just stop you to say, nice. Thanks, brother. Cool. And you're like, oh, I thought I was going to go to jail.
Yeah. Man, we're going to put you in jail. What's this Instagram of this? Oh, man, that's awesome. So, so you had a VFI and a Triumph over there.
Yep. Had a VFI, had a Triumph, had a DRZ 400, a Suzuki. I had an Iranian, like 125cc, like Honda CB sort of like replica.
Yeah.
Had a few other dirt bikes as well. I had an XT. What else did I have?
What do you think of the DRZ 400? Because I said to Nick the other week, I was like, man, I wouldn't mind getting that. And you're like, it's got no balls. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, I heard it's got balls, but not as much balls as the WR450.
Okay.
I heard that's a real arm ripper. So, yeah, that's it. And I thought, I want to... Yeah, there's a part of me that's like, I should just settle for a DRZ 400.
Yeah.
But then I thought, before I get any older, I want to be on a ball terror. Like, I want something that scares me. You know?
Yeah, well, I was just like, man, I've got the DR650, similar parts. You know what I mean? There's a lot of crossover there. I was like, man, that might be easier. But I'm like, yeah, but imagine if it was just, something different. Something more exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the DRZ 400 is fucking great for that quick, I got to get the fuck out of here, from 0 to 60. But yeah, when you go into 100 and stuff, it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
At one particular time, I think, me and another friend were going past, we realized this one checkpoint was actually run by the Taliban. And we're like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And so we just basically slowed down and then we just went straight off.
Oh.
We got shot at, everything, but we just kept riding.
Shot at?
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
that's when you realize how good of a rider you are because you're
dodging bullets.
Yeah, you're dodging bullets, but you're making every fucking turn and everything to evade them. It's just like, you're on full throttle.
Yeah.
It's different probably from doing a motorbike, like a motorbike race or something like that. Because a motorbike race, you just, you're not, you don't have somebody behind you to fuck you up. So,
This is the only race that matters.
Yeah.
The race of living.
And and I'm making a lot of speculations here. I've never been to Afghanistan or whatever. Australia's so regulated. If you buy a motorbike or whatever, there's all the owners. You've got to have it registered and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Was there? This is just a speculation as well. Were people just like, hey man, you're into motorbikes? I've got this one here I've stumbled upon or whatever. Like you can buy it or a motorbike. I guess motorbikes aren't that big over there or whatever. If you had the fastest one in Kabul and it was a VFR,
Yeah, well, with those bikes and stuff, the best way to say it was there's only a few places you can actually buy them. And so these bikes are all stolen and basically brought over to Afghanistan. All Japanese bikes were all basically stolen.
Yeah, right.
So you don't have any ones that are kind of brand new. So most of them are from the 90s. So I had a Enholo as well, a Kawasaki Enholo.
I've never even heard of that. What is that like?
It's kind of a little bit like my KLE, which is why I like it so much. But it's like an adventure bike that nobody sort of ever really knows anything about.
It sounds like the Honda Varadero.
Yeah.
That's what Stewie used to have. It was like the weirdest bike you've ever seen. And, it was like a 1000. It looked like a super bike with just a little bit of adventure. I think it was probably one of the first adventure ones.
And a wild name as well, the Varadero.
The Varadero, yeah. Man, that's crazy. So you're in Afghanistan for 6 years. Now, I'm just going to make a judgment here. You were back into motorbikes.
Was it the dodging bullets that gave it away then?
Yeah, or the 4 or 5 motorcycles in 6 years. Yeah,
I mean, we had a group of us and stuff. We had a club. We had a club called the Kabul Knights Motorcycle Club.
The Kabul Knights.
I actually have a tattoo on my back. So unfortunately, you have to watch probably the video podcast, but I can show you guys the back tattoo if you guys want to see it.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to see
You definitely want to see it?
Yeah.
This is more reason to enjoy the video pod.
Yeah, for sure.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Man, we'll visually describe it.
Yeah.
All right, he's starting with his pants for some unknown reason. I thought you said it was on your back there, champ.
Yeah.
Here we go. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Oh, that is sick. Can you flash around to that camera there? Yes.
Oh, man.
Dude. That fucking rules.
I got that made in Kenya. I lived in Kenya for a short time while working in Somalia. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to get myself a tattoo. I'll just get a gigantic fucking Kabul Knights tattoo. Yeah, why not?
Fuck, why not?
So
18 hours, but yeah.
So now you're, so for those who didn't see it,
once
it's
again,
a whole back tattoo. Yeah, so
once again, definitely back into motorbikes.
Yes. And also keep us up to speed on this. So did you go to Kenya after Afghanistan? When you were working?
I went to Kenya sort of in between.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, Afghanistan's like a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
I call it the abusive husband. So, there are certain things that are absolutely shit about the place, and there's things that you can't change.
Yeah.
I was part of an NGO called Skaterstan, teaching kids skateboarding.
Whoa.
And so, you see girls who get sold off to prostitution, to early marriages, just, this shit sort of like, fuck, they're like family to me, and they were like given away.
Oh, man. Oh, that sounds terrible.
It's like, fuck, I just need to forget things.
Yeah, yep.
So there was a project in Somalia, and I got to actually ride a motorcycle in Somalia as well.
Wow.
I got to ride this dirt bike. I can't remember what type of dirt bike it was. It was just like, I just want to ride a bike. And my friend goes, oh, okay, I'll see if I can get you one.
Yeah.
I was working on this music sort of program. It was part of this sort of counter-terrorism sort of initiative program.
Yeah.
And I just like, so we had to set up all these music festivals all in Mogadishu, and there's Al-Shabaab, which is just as bad as the Taliban when it comes to, just attacks and stuff that are happening all around the city. And, they did send death threats. We are going to bomb your festival. It's like, fuck. But it's just like, I turn up and stuff, and then like I had to go see the police officers and go see the main police chief. And he's like, you can't really go around by yourself. You need some sort of protection. It's like, I don't need really anybody. It's like, here's a handgun. So he gives me a Glock 17. He's like, just bring it back to the police station when you're done.
These cops rule.
So you're riding a dirt bike with a Glock.
Yeah, I'm fully back in between, in the prison sort of like pocket, just in that back bit there.
Man, Australia sucks. Yeah. Let's go here.
Man, this is a wet dream for most of the listeners of this podcast.
But my fixer, he's just like watching me ride my motorbike and stuff, and my fixer's like, oh, I want to give it a go and stuff. It's like, all right, give it a go. It was like, he just over revs it, and he revs it so hard it just flips up on one wheel and hits him the handlebar hits him straight in his nose, breaks his nose.
So this is every Instagram video we get sent ever. Is most people just over revving the bike.
Right? Yeah.
When I did the motorbike course was to get the road license maybe 5 or 6 years ago. There was that lady straight away, just never been on a bike before, clutch out and then just straight in the air, and you're like, fuck, I'm the same level as her apparently. You know what I mean? We're the same. We're kindred spirits, are we? Yeah. We're both doing this course together.
Yeah, man. So that's awesome. So after Afghanistan, you're filming there. You've owned a couple of bikes, and what do you come back to Australia after that, or
no, it keeps on going.
So
I became more of a war photographer, and I kind of wanted to cover Syria and Libya and South Sudan. I first moved to Dubai. Dubai was kind of expensive and boring, but it was a great transitional place. And then most of my friends were in Istanbul, and most of them were covering Syria. So I moved to Istanbul. Istanbul was amazing. It was fantastic.
So there in Istanbul, when you moved there, because were you doing video or photography there, and were you selling that to magazines or journalists? Is that was that was happening, or?
Yeah, so pretty much I was just working as a freelancer.
Yeah,
I sold all of this footage and photos to basically whoever needed it. Documentaries for whoever needed stuff in Syria that they couldn't get it.
Yeah,
and I was lucky enough brown. The best way to put it is I either look Mexican, I look Arab, I look, but I don't look like a Malaysian, which is my actual heritage.
I would not have picked that.
Well, I was going to say that, man. I didn't want to seem, but if I was in Afghanistan, I'm sure, or Libya or Syria or whatever, I probably would have got stopped a lot more, right? Like, it must have been weird for them. They see this, brown guy, and then all of a sudden you got an Australian accent. You're like, hey, how you going?
Sorry, I don't speak the accent, the language. So I rode a few motorbikes in Syria as well. There was one, I became kind of famous for a particular event, which was this battle in Kobani. And so this battle in this town called Kobani, ISIS was going to take it all over. And I was the only journalist that managed to get across the border and cross over, and was documenting what was happening. And we thought we were going to fucking lose. And then suddenly all the American airstrikes came in, and they started bombing all actual targets of ISIS sort of encampments and strongholds. And within that sort of time, they managed to get back Kobani.
Wow.
But,
And you're the only journalist there documenting all this.
yeah, so I had all the
so
access
fucking
to all
cool.
of this, photos, everything. And so people were just like, fuck, who is this guy? They're calling me up, contacting me.
Yeah.
I'm giving these nonchalant stories and stuff, bombs like dropping by. It's like, oh, yeah, that was a bomb. And it's like, I'm back at, sort of things like, aren't you scared? It's like, no, not really. This is my job,
Yeah.
It was like, and then at the same time, there was all these dudes and stuff from the YPG, and the Free Syrian Army at the time. They were together, and they're like, you know something about motorbikes, don't you? It's like, yeah, I know. It's like, come, so they've got all these like 125cc sort of like bikes and stuff, and we're hot wiring them because everyone's fled and stuff, and all their ISIS bikes and stuff, and they don't have the keys, or we got to find the keys off the dead person's corpse.
What?
So I
Just another day in the office, really. Yeah.
I
yeah.
just, we plug out the key, the key part, rewire it and stuff, and you can jumpstart the bike and can ride it off. So we had our fleet of motorcycles, and so
Whoa, man.
All your photos, by the way, for all the listeners, that most of the stuff is all on your Instagram. I had a little scroll through it before. There's some incredible photos in there. It's fucking amazing.
yeah. So check out Jake Simkin Photos.
Of course.
That's the @sign. I basically have content of motorcycles and war photography.
Yeah,
You know?
but how was that going from that to back to Melbourne now? You know what I mean? How do you go from hot wiring and looking for keys off a dead body to like, hey, does anyone want to go get a soy latte?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's difficult.
Yeah,
But I get used to it. There's enough sort of, I guess, I end up running into some amount of trouble here anyway. So
Yeah.
it keeps myself busy.
It's crazy, man. Do you because I find that when you're a man, this can apply to women as well. But I was talking to a mate who's a doctor, and he's a pediatrics, so delivering babies. He delivered babies for 4 years, and now he's in the flying doctors. So he just gets called up like he's James Bond or something.
Yeah,
and he loves
yeah.
it. He's like, get
The
on a plane.
adrenaline.
Get on a plane now. There's a baby that's got to be delivered, and he gets on that plane, delivers that baby, on the plane or whatever, and he's like, yeah, I feel like a madman. Sure, there is a part of that, but you really don't get the relief till you've done it. Hey, were you living it at the time? You're like, yeah, I'm living the psycho Arnold Schwarzenegger life, but at the time you're actually quite stressed. Like Brett and I got caught in the snow in Tasmania riding, and I loved it. I loved the scenery. I was like, as I was doing, I was like, this is the coolest adventure of my life. But then 2 hours in, I was like, get me out of this fucking snow. My hands are going to snap off. And then we got to basically an oasis in the middle of Tasmania. It had a campfire, this pub and everything, and we warmed up our hands. But I thought my hands would not come back. But were you having fun at the time? You said you weren't scared.
No, you're kind of like having fun. There's this particular part of your brain that turns on.
Yeah.
And it's just like, fuck, I got to live. Like, I got to fucking get through this, and I got to do what it takes to just survive.
Really?
And that's the one thing you probably don't really get here in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Or just living this like soy latte life or whatever. It's complete sort of like also downer and stuff as well when you're not really feeling this urge or this movement in life sort of thing is like, oh, just got this stagnant sort of life of not doing anything.
Because your body would be in like, I'd assume, like a fight or flight mode, because if you're in this war-torn country, you're going to be like full of adrenaline and you're like ready to go and ready to react. And then when you come here, you're like, oh, fuck, I don't have any of that anymore. I've got to get on the Harley and sting it,
Yeah, that's why I have a chopper. Because I know
it's a full circle back.
It's just
and
like,
that's why I have the crazy chopper.
Is this, it's like, will this chopper work? Will it fall apart on me when I, hit the brakes? And it's just like,
Anyway.
Yeah.
Excited though.
Man, that is awesome. That is crazy. Yeah, I'm lucky because, like yourself, you probably experienced this too, but I don't know. I experienced this. I sometimes I do get really depressed, not about how bad my life is or anything like that, but not because just how fucking normal it is. Like sometimes I'm sitting there, but then last weekend I bought a gas bottle, a barbecue cover, I trim the hedges. I was like, this is actually kind of gratifying, but it's only because the first time I'd done it in a year, I'd say. The rest of every other weekend, I'm doing gigs, and on the Friday, I fucking basically died in front at this Christmas party. For a tiles company.
Oh, you're doing a corporate?
Yeah, I was doing a corporate gig, but that's the only thing that keeps me like, yeah, now you're in danger. Like this, you go to a gig in fucking Dingley Village, and there's just Christmas party where everyone's having a good time, and they're like, all right, everybody, shut up. The comedian's on now. And you're like, wow, this is...
That's our Afghanistan. Our corporates are our Afghanistan.
Yeah, this isn't Syria, but it's pretty fucking close, I gotta say, you know?
But yeah,
Man, bullets were flying there as well, trust me.
It's exactly that. It's like endorphins, like, I got to get ready for this. I got to be fucking great. I got to be like on par. I got to be, fucking funny. I got to make people laugh.
Yeah.
I just got to do all of this sort of thing. It's exactly the same as being a war photographer. It's like, I got to tell my story. I got to tell my story to the world. I need people to know. And it's really devastating when people don't really give a shit. So, and then you come home to a place like here in Australia and stuff. So I got diagnosed with what's called moral injury, where basically, I just feel like the world is fucked and I need to do something about it.
Yeah.
And then sitting like at a bar or just hanging out with mates is just pretty boring,
Yeah.
So I need to spice it up. I need to go on and that was the thing, like motorcycles, especially, like I just go on a motorcycle adventure. I just go and, fix myself, basically. That's my best way of saying how I fix myself. I'm going on a motor ride. Most people want to come on rides with me anyway because they're just like,
He's a psycho.
I'm up for something.
Yeah,
I'm up for a ride.
I had that on Friday, the same thing, not the barbecue soldier, but I was just like, man, I'm bored. I've just, we didn't do anything all week. There's nothing exciting. None of the gigs scared me. And I was just like, on Friday, I was like, fuck it. It was whatever day it was. And I just got the bike and I found this track. It was Powelltown, like an hour away. And this guy said, there's a dirt road there. And I was just like praying to go see the dirt. And then I just it wasn't even crazy. It was like a 4 out of 10. I was just doing a little climb up the side of this hill, but it was a dirt road. And I was just so happy. But I was like, normally I ride with Nick, and Nick's my safety net because he goes first. And if there's something wrong, he can help me get out of it. I didn't have that, and I kind of liked it. I was like, what happens if I get bitten by a brown snake? I was like, good, I hope I do get bitten by a brown snake. It'll make me feel alive, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And then all that excitement and adrenaline, that made kind of cured me. You know what I mean? I was back to feeling good about life again. It woke me up.
Yeah, for sure. Men, we're all like...
We could talk through our feelings, or we could go try and get bitten by a brown snake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, that's crazy. So we probably, we could have just done 3 podcasts on Afghanistan alone, you being there. But now you're back here. What motorbikes you got at the moment?
What motorbikes do I have at the moment?
Yeah.
I've got a 91 Harley that I got to fix and get it done.
Yep.
What
is it, a sporty or?
It's a sporty, but I'll be making to like a Japanese style sort of,
Yep.
And then I've got my KLE 500, which I feel like when I finish the Harley and stuff, and that's my daily ride, I'll be able to make the KLE into a Bosazuku. So I want a fucking gigantic fucking, back sort of seat. And I'm going to put the fairings above my light and stuff, and then just do it all up, redo the whole bike, and I'll give it back to my mate. So it's just like, finish with your bike, customized it. Here you go. Here's the Japanese Bosazuki. He's going to go, what the fuck is this bike? And I've got this 1971 Harley Davidson chopper, which I bought because I've been dreaming about doing a road movie. For a few years now, and then I started riding it during COVID time, and I ended up going to Afghanistan last year. I've come back. I now have a wife and a kid on the way, but I'm determined that next year coming, I'll be able to work on my road movie, shoot all the stuff, and then hopefully get some funding and be able to work on my movie.
Well, if you need 2 jack stuntmen.
Yeah,
me and Nick know some guys.
Oh, definitely. I need some boys to get down to like Cape York. I think maybe you guys.
We're in.
Seriously, we're in.
We're in.
Yeah.
Whatever the most shittiest dirt bikes you can find is basically.
We've already got them.
Even better.
$2,000 from Bendigo $XT600.
Mine's like $3,000. It's a pig. I love it.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's fucking awesome, man. So you're just working on these bikes now. You work at the custom commune. I've got a feeling you're a resident there. You're a bit of a guy who helps out.
I'm a long-termer,
Yeah.
Started
Great
as a
man.
volunteer. I work there. I don't work there anymore.
Yeah.
So there's another thing called Oxford Street Garage. I work for Oxford Street Garage, which is for rental bikes. So, yeah, anybody that wants to rent a bike and stuff, we actually rented a bike to Guy Pearce. So, so he came by and, actually he doesn't come by to the commune. We have to bring the bike to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was going for his learners and stuff. It's like, fuck yeah, Guy Pearce maybe I should hand him my script.
Yeah.
What was this? I just dropped this on the floor. What was that? Yeah.
Just
Shit
slip it
into
into, exactly.
The real story.
The real madman. Yeah, man, that's awesome. So you guys rent out motorbikes. What motorbikes do you rent out?
So they're mainly Royal Enfields. So you got Royal
What?
Enfield Interceptors. We should get some more dirt bikes and stuff,
Yeah.
definitely. We do have a Harley Davidson 883.
Yeah.
And we got this. We got these two little 200s like CBFs.
Yeah.
One of them doesn't work, but for some reason it gets booked out onto like models, like photo shoots and stuff with models and stuff. And so you got these like European models and stuff sitting on this bike that's not working. But
As long as it looks good, you know.
It looks good.
What do you got a GB?
I got a 1987 GB 250.
Yeah. So that'd be
Nice.
that kind of league, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh
So-
man, that's awesome. So your plans are to make a now what? There's a couple of questions I got for you. Right now,
Yeah.
you've got the KLE, the 500.
Yeah.
What? Because I've got a XT600. He's got a DR650. There's only a limit of power you can get out of these things, right?
Yeah.
That kind of engine, that simple engine. Have you done anything to the KLE to get it absolutely screaming, or you or it's just pretty ordinary? Pretty ordinary power, and you just rev the guts out of it. Really,
I just rev the guts out of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, partially it wasn't my bike, so I partially is like, I've done it to a level that I find is acceptable for the road and what I like. But I got in my head, I'm going to give back to Benny his fucking ultimate bike. I'll make it much better than he probably will
ever do it.
Ever do it. It was like, oh my god, if needs be, if I have to put,
And is there something about, because I see a chopper and I think that would bore the shit out of me. It looks like it sucks. But then I was talking to a girl who had a chopper and she's like, no, it rules. There's a sound of it on the highway. There's something about it that makes it beautiful. Is that like...
loud and noisy,
Yeah.
fucking
And they
rule.
rattle as shit. They're not usually that
you
good,
rattle,
right?
you feel that shaking like while you're on your seat and stuff. It's like, fuck yeah, this bike might fall apart and I might just die, but I'm
Man,
dying.
Nick's got the same feeling on his XT.
I'm dying at 100 kilometers an hour, and this is going to be the greatest thing on earth. You know?
Yeah.
You want to be this bawling fucking thing of, I remember when I first fixed my Triumph in Afghanistan, this 1971 T100 Tiger, it kept popping flames, and it was just... people would describe me as like the Ghost Rider. I'd be like riding at night and just the back sort of thing.
I know
was
where
just
he
like,
is.
fire just popped out of everywhere. I was like, fuck.
Oh, great, mate. Yeah, well, we'll wrap it up soon, but you have recently bought out a book.
Yes.
Tell us about this book.
So I went back to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I spent 6 days there and the Taliban took over. The Taliban won, the US got out, Australia got out. We all left it, and the place got basically now under their rule. But peace happened to be there, so there was no more checkpoints and stuff. And I could actually ride. I actually bought a motorcycle. I bought a Suzuki Jebel, which is a 250cc
Oh, the
dirt bike.
Jebel, my favourite bike. I've never fucking heard of that.
I know.
I was like, how do you know this? I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
The Jebel's kind of like an XT sort of thing. It's got a Kickstarter as well. So at least, most of the batteries and stuff in Afghanistan for motorbikes are really shit. So they don't last that long, or they explode or pop. But at least if you got a Kickstarter, you can at least kick your bike and keep on going.
Yeah.
So, we traveled around, me and this other journalist, for 4 months. And, we basically documented everything. So it's, about 132 beautiful photos by me and about 15 pages from my friend Holly. Maybe more, but it's a big, gigantic coffee book.
Yep.
And
where can people get it from? You got a website or something, or bookshops, or?
I have a link actually on my Instagram.
Yeah.
On my bio and stuff, so you can look at it, click on it.
What was your Instagram handle again?
So my Instagram handle is Jake Simkin Photos.
Great.
Yeah.
And
Make sure you get around that, guys.
I'm smelling a good Christmas gift.
For me sounds great.
For Dad.
My parents would love that. I would love it.
Does your old man still ride, or?
No, my dad gave up riding. But he likes looking at my bikes and stuff, and just like,
It's a common ground among men. It's like why I ride as well. My dad, he didn't really have comedy. He couldn't really latch on. I draw and stuff as well. He couldn't really get into that. Once I started motorbikes again, we're all in. That's all my brother and my dad. I talk to my mum. Yeah, we're talking. Then hands over the phone. Then it's motorbike talk for the next half an hour to 45 minutes. So, man, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Brett, I'm going to call it. I think it's one of our greatest episodes.
It is one of our greatest episodes.
It's one of our greatest episodes. Man,
you mean the guy with the back tattoo they got shot at while riding around Afghanistan? Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Probably our lamest episode, to be honest.
What a nerd. Let's get him off.
But man, we'd love to have you on again. You got any stories or anything you promote, please come back when you make your movie. Thank you so much, Jake. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Jake. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much, man. Thank you.
No
All
worries.
right. Thank you, mate.
I hit the wrong fucking button.